Muraho hikers, welcome back to African Hiker. I'm Anita and I make videos about various hiking trails in Africa and what I come across along the way. I spent 2 weeks in Rwanda and now I present you with the top 10 things to do in Rwanda. Number 1, Volcanoes National Park. I suspect that most people who visit Rwanda plan to go to Volcanoes National Park. After all, that is the home of the majestic silverback mountain gorilla. But if your budget is like my budget and doesn't allow you to do a gorilla trek, there are still so many things on offer here. My favorite being that you can hike the volcanoes. I climbed Mount Karisimbi, the highest peak in Rwanda. It is a 2-day hike and it showed me flames. It's the mud. If it wasn't for the mud, the hike wouldn't have been that bad. I have a video about Mount Karisimbi coming. Another popular day hike is Mount Bisoke.
And we started somewhere there.
Number 2, Lake Kivu. If I were to pick a place to live in Rwanda, I would live on the banks of Lake Kivu. It is so unbelievably beautiful. There are some really nice lakeside restaurants and accommodation.
I have to put my life on.
We went for a boat ride on the lake, which at first I was hesitant because I get seasick, but the lake was so still it wasn't a problem. There are also hot springs by the lake that you can relax in. And the fisherman boats looked really interesting. Tea plantation.
Oh, look at the tea! I have to go out.
As we drove further south, we started to notice stunning verdant hills. These were tea plantations. We visited Gisakura tea plantation for a tour. I did not expect to have such a good time.
No,
Okay.
You don't cheat, please.
Okay, I'm gonna... Did I miss?
You missed.
The tea pickers were so benevolent and had a great sense of humor. I was laughing and smiling throughout the tour.
Oh my gosh.
And our guide Obed was fantastic. I'm gonna put the contact details in the description. He is so knowledgeable and warm-hearted.
And when you are picking for green tea, you only choose the top one.
Oh.
Green tea and a black tea. Even white tea they from the bud. That's the difference.
4, coffee plantation. Rwanda produces some of the best coffee in the world. We visited Huye Mountain Coffee for a coffee tour. I visited a coffee plant a few years back while I was in Tanzania. And what made this tour in Rwanda stand out was how interactive it was. I got to roast the coffee beans and ground them. Oh, but upper body strength. I found it interesting that most Rwandans don't drink coffee. Almost all the coffee is grown for exporting. Number 5, Nyungwe National Park. I recommend that you buy yourself a guidebook. All the hiking trails are listed in here with a description, distance, and estimated duration. It also has information on some of the animals, plants, and butterflies found here. There are at least 300 butterfly species and a checklist for the birders. I have since misplaced my guidebook. I was gonna show it to you, but it's like I'm filming this 6 months after I was there, so sorry. Number 6, traditional beekeeping. I am a beekeeper, so of course this one was on my list. We had the pleasure of talking to a local beekeeper who showed us the traditional way of beekeeping in Rwanda.
The soil, after fixing the trees, they cut the small bamboo. These are small bamboos.
Yes.
And then after cutting the small bamboos, they divide them into small pieces like this. And then after dividing the small bamboos, and then they try to roll over the trees until they make.
And then, wow. Okay, so they use the tree trunk as a mold.
Yes, and then after they take a cow dung. You know cow dung?
Yes.
Cow dung, they try to make cow dung mud. And then they plaster, they do the plastering
Oh.
plastering. After plastering, they let it dry.
Yeah.
After drying, they cut the dried banana leaves and they protect the beehives from sun and rain.
At Azizi Life, one of the cultural experiences that they offer is hive making, which I think would be a lot of fun. I didn't get to weave a hive because we were now running out of time and we had to get back to the city. Plus, I don't know how I would have flown back to South Africa with it because I would obviously want to keep it. Number 7, Kigali Convention Center / city tour. I got way too excited when I saw that avocado trees were growing on the side of walkways. It's like avos cost an arm and a leg here. But in Rwanda, they just there chilling on the side of the road. Like there's like ripe avo just hanging there on the streets. My favorite way to tour the city was from the back of a moto taxi. Number 8, Kigali Markets. I loved the market. In the short time that I was in Kigali, I visited the market 3 times. I knew that I wanted to buy fabric, and on my first trip here I got so overwhelmed I didn't actually buy anything. It was like it's just a lot. It was chaos. I had to leave. On the second visit I was better prepared. I think just knowing what to expect made it so much easier. So I managed to get all the fabric I wanted, and I got 2 items made for me right there in the market, this top being one of them, and this Alice band I made it myself. Yeah, and then the third visit I went back to buy trinkets and stuff for like friends and family. Number 9, Mount Kigali. There's a group called Tourism Lovers 250 and they do hikes up Mount Kigali with a yoga session in the forest. If you want to do this hike, go with them. I went on my own and ended up finding myself climbing cliffs, then wandering into a graveyard and following goats, and like it was a mess. I'll take a tuk-tuk back home. Oh, look, a goat. And 10. Last but not least, you must visit the Genocide Memorial. Even if you are a history buff and you think you know all there is to know about the genocide, it is so different when you're there in person. When you're there where it happened, right there with the victims laying in the ground beneath you. We don't know anything. It's different. We know this much. There you have it. These are the top 10 things to do in Rwanda. Which ones are you looking forward to? Thank you so much for watching, and check out my Rwanda playlist for more videos on the land of 1,000 hills. Nirigwe! Turongera!